Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Our topic for today is how to feel blessed, secure, and peaceful at heart. This is a very useful, very important topic. When we feel like this, the entire world appears like a garden full of fragrant roses. We feel so good, everything appears so nice, we are always joyful. So, very important topic to discuss, and we will discuss some very important practical points by which we can always feel like this. So, before I go on to explaining the different ways in which we can feel like that, I wanted to touch on some of the reasons why people may not feel like that. People may feel morose or dejected or lonely or depressed or so here are some reasons. There could be more, but these are some of the things, some of the reasons that I could think of. One, and I think a very significant one, is comparing with others. People often look at others lives and they feel I'm not good enough. you know Especially with online platforms like Facebook, Instagram, people are always looking at others photos, videos, and they often think that, oh, how others are enjoying, whereas we are good for nothing, and so on. And this creates a feeling of not being good enough or not being able to appreciate what they have, looking at others lives. So comparing with others. Other is past hurts and traumas. Sometimes people have had a very painful experiences, either in this life or from their previous lives, which prevents them from feeling their best all the time, or feeling worried, tensed, and so on. Chronic problems and issues. Sometimes people go through a lot of chronic problems like health problems, legal issues, relationship troubles, and so on. This They are trying their best to overcome those difficulties, but somehow they are not able to because they are chronic in nature, and that makes them not peaceful at mind. They are always worried, they are always in anxiety. Other is no clear goal or purpose in life. This is an important one. If people don't have clear goal or understanding or purpose in life or direction in life, then often people feel lost. They don't see any meaning to why they are living, what is the purpose of their existing. So this can also block their peace of mind. Feeling alone. Sometimes people have, sometimes they are alone. You know, there is no support, there is no relatives, there are no friends to help out. They feel lonely, disconnected, and this affects their sense of emotional safety as well. Low self esteem. Sometimes people who are of low self esteem, they may feel that they don't deserve happiness or they don't deserve blessings, even though they may have all that in their life. So, low self esteem. And the last one is stressful environment. The world that we are living in is quite stressful. Everybody is running around trying to do things, get there, from one responsibility to other, trying to achieve, being competitive, and this creates a lot of stress. At our workplace, school, everything, there is so much competition. Technology has made our lives easier to a certain extent, but it has also made it very difficult to you know pause, s- and feel relaxed or stop and recharge. So these are some common reasons. Now we will discuss 5 ways by which we will can always feel blessed, secure, peaceful, and happy at heart all the time. The 5 ways are: trust God and His plans. This is a very important one, and we will discuss this in detail. Have a positive outlook which turns adversities into opportunities. Transcend dualities and be fixed on the eternal. 4. Practice heartfelt gratitude. And 5. Associate with devotees and stay spiritually nourished. So, these are some of the 5 points or 5 ways by which we can feel blessed, secure, and peaceful at heart. There could be more, but these 5 I feel are very practical, very relevant, and very effective. I have personally experienced, I have personally tried to implement some of this, or not some, almost all of them in my life, and I have seen a dramatic difference in my attitude, in my outlook towards life. I feel much more, I feel better. I feel better as a human being because, as we all know, we are all going through difficulties. So I thought, in fact, this was one of the main reason why I was so inspired to discuss this topic with all of you. So let's look at each of them in detail. So the first one is trust God and His plans. Have faith that whatever He does is good for us. This is a very important and the most crucial way to always feel blessed and secure. Unless we have faith in God, unless we understand that there is God who is my best friend, who is my well wisher, whose plans are always perfect, and no matter what He does, even though apparently it may seem unfair or unjust or difficult, whatever He does is always good for me. This faith is at the crux of everything. If one doesn't have this, he's going to find it very difficult. Let us look at some examples. Once there was a businessman who was traveling through a forest. He got tired, so he thought, let me take some rest under a large banyan tree. As he lay down under the shade of this banyan tree, he looked up at the branches and the trees and the fruits that were there on this tree. And on the side he had on the side where he was laying down, there were big pumpkins. And this and he was just thinking to himself that this is a very odd design. God has created such a large banyan tree, but He has given such small fruits on it. Whereas here's a big pumpkin which is growing on a thin, delicate creeper, but the fruit pumpkin is so enormous. So he thought that it was a very odd design, and giving his critic, he closed his eyes and went off to sleep. After some time, a fruit from this large banyan tree fell on his forehead, and immediately he was woken up. And as he woke up, immediately a realization dawned upon him, and he thanked God that, my dear Lord, thank you for creating, thank you for your wonderful design, he said. Although you have made a large tree, you have given small fruits. If these fruits were as big as pumpkin, my head would have been smashed today. So he said, God, you're not crazy. I am the one who's crazy to be even thinking that there could be any defect in your plans or in your design. So often we also make such mistakes. We think that God's design is not perfect. There is so much suffering in this world. There is no peace. God is unjust. Things are happening by its own. It's not perfect, But we have to understand that God is perfect. His design is perfect, and there's a very profound wisdom in His creation. If we do not see that, it's not God's problem, it's our problem. We are not able to see the wonderful creation and the profound wisdom that is there behind it. So everything has a place and purpose in God's creation. Once a mother was crafting a beautiful embroidery, and a child who was very barely able to walk saw this embroidery, and he was confused, and he thought this is very complicated and messy. So he asked his mother, "Mother, what are you doing with all this colorful threads? It seems very complicated and messy." The mother, on hearing this, slightly smiled and said, "Son, that's because you are looking at it from your point of view or from your side. Come over and I will show you what exactly it looks like." So the child walked over to the mother's shoulder, and then when he looked at it from mother's side, he could see a beautiful design, flowers and greenery, and such a nice painting. And the boy was delighted. He said, "Wow, this looks so beautiful." So often we also make this mistake. When we look at the world through our own limited vision, it appears very confusing and messy. But when it is seen from God's perspective, then everything falls in place. Everything starts to make sense. Everything is so beautifully designed. Even in chaos, we see a divine design. So, this is what we need to do. We need to look at the world from the eyes of scriptures, which are the words of the Supreme Lord. Then it'll start making perfect sense. I heard another very nice story. This is the story of a man who was stranded on an island. Once a man took his boat and went out into the ocean. He started rowing and rowing and rowing, and he went quite far away from the shore. And suddenly there was a big storm. It was so big that his entire boat was destroyed. There were big waves and it was tossing and turning around in the. So he was now completely in the ocean without a boat. Luckily, he saw a small island nearby, and he started quickly swimming towards the island. He swam and went to the island, and now on the island he found out that he was the only one. There was nobody else living on that island. So he was hungry. He went and searched for some food, and couple of days passed this way. He also built a hut for himself. Sometimes he saw a ship going. He would yell and shout and try to indicate to the ship, but the ship would not won't be able to see him because it was very far away from the island. So many days passed, and then this man started realizing that I am stuck here. My family doesn't even know where I am. They don't even know whether I'm alive, and I'm stuck on this island. I don't know whether I'll be able to get back. During this time, he had also built a hut for himself, and he was living in that hut. That hut was his only shelter. And one day he started very prayerfully started praying to the Lord that, "My dear Lord, please help me. I'm stuck in this island. I don't know whether I'll be able to get back to my family. You are the only one who can help. There is no one here. No one lives on this island. No ships ever comes here. So I don't know how am I going to get back. Please help me." Saying this, he slept off. The next day, he went to look for food. And when he came back, he saw that his hut was on fire. As you can see in the photo, the hut was on fire and there was a lot of smoke coming out of that fire. And the man was devastated because this was his only shelter. There was no other place on island where he could live. And he was very frustrated. He was saying, "I had my only shelter was this hut, and now that's also gone." But what happened is that the next day, a ship started coming towards the island. So this man quickly ran and swam towards the ship and got onto the ship and asked the captain, "What made you come towards this island?" And the captain revealed that as I was passing, I saw a big column of smoke coming from this island. And so I understood that there must be somebody who's stranded on this island. So, seeing the smoke, I thought, let me go and check it out. Let me see if there is anyone who needs help. And that is why I came. Hearing this, the man was completely amazed, and he immediately understood this could be this nobody could have done this. This is God's doing. If God had not burned my hut, I would not have been saved. I would have not been rescued by this ship. So he immediately understood. So here we see a very important lesson that sometimes we may go through difficult times, and we may not be able to understand why we are going through that difficulty. But as I said, God's plans are perfect. He knows exactly what to do and how to help us. So, whenever we go through certain difficulties in our life, we should always remember that the event may not always be good, but there is always some good in it. So, in this case, the burning of the hut was not a good event, but there was some good in it, and that good was ultimately his life was rescued. So, now I'll play a video.
Trust God. Once upon a time, in a temple of Lord Krishna, there was a sweeper who was very sincere and devoted. Every time he saw thousands of devotees coming to take darshan of the Lord, he thought to himself,
The Lord is standing all the time giving darshan. He must be feeling very tired. O Lord, your feet must be aching. I want to help you. At least for one day can I take your place so that you can have some rest.
Thank you, my dear. It is very nice of you, and I don't mind taking a break. But how will you take my place?
It's simple. You change me to look like you and change yourself to look like me.
Okay. I'll transform you like myself. But there is one condition. You must just stand here like me, smile at everyone and give blessings. Never interfere with anything and do not say anything. Just watch everything and be a witness.
the sweeper agreed to this and exchanged places with his lord. The next day, a rich man came to pray.
O Lord, please bless me. My business should go on well.
While leaving the temple, the rich man forgot to take his briefcase, which was full of money. Just then, a poor man came into the temple.
O Lord, please accept this coin, as this is all I can afford. Bless me to be engaged in your service always. My family is hungry and my heart is leaking. I need some help from you.
When he opened his eyes, he saw the briefcase left behind by the rich man. The poor man thanked the Lord for his kindness and generosity and took the briefcase. At that point, a sailor walked in.
O Lord, I'm going on a long trip. Please bless me so that I have a safe journey.
Just then, the rich man came in with the police.
There, he is the thief who stole my briefcase full of money.
Hey, did you think you could run away after robbing this gentleman? Come on, tell me where's the money?
I did not steal anything, sir. I don't have any money with me.
Then you must have given it to your friend who must have run away by now. Come with us to the police station.
Dear Lord, you know I am innocent. Why am I being punished then?
Thank you, Krishna. You are the one who helped us catch this thief.
The sweeper, in the form of the deity, could no longer tolerate the situation. He had to speak up now to save the sailor.
Stop! You're making a mistake. It was not this sailor who took the money, it was a poor man who came here before him.
Who is that speaking?
Here, I am God speaking.
This person is not only a thief but also a clever cheat. He is tricking us into thinking that the idol is speaking. Arrest him, quick!
The sailor was arrested and taken away. The sweeper felt very sad. In the evening, Krishna returned to the temple.
My dear, how was the day?
I thought it would be easy, Krishna, but it was difficult. I tried to do a good thing, but man does not seem to have actual faith in God at all.
The sweeper then told Krishna about the happenings of the day and how a sailor had been unfairly punished for the crime of the poor man.
Oh dear, why did you not stick to the plan? Don't you have faith in me? Do you think that I do not understand the hearts of all those who come here? The rich man had money which he had got by cheating someone. It does not belong to him. On the other hand, the single coin offered by the poor man was the only coin he had, but he gave it to me with full faith. The sailor might not have done anything wrong, but if he had gone in the ship today, he would have died because of bad weather. Instead, he is alive and safe now in the jail. Soon the police will apologize to him and release him.
I did not know all this.
I have a good plan for everyone's life. But because your faith in me is shaky, you try to do things on your own. Don't do that. Just trust me.
For everything that we see around us, God has a plan. We need to trust His wisdom and accept His will.
So that was the video on Trust God. Very nice video, very nice message that we should always trust God. Now let's move on to the second point. Have a positive outlook towards life. This is also a very important point. When we have positive outlook towards life, we can transform adversity into opportunities. Once, a shoe manufacturing company sent a salesman to a remote village. When this man came to the village, he saw that none of the villagers wore any shoes. So he immediately called back the headquarters of the company and said, "Please stop the shipment. This village, I will not be able to sell any shoes because nobody here wears shoes. Please stop the shipment." He packed his own bags and he went back. The manager of the same company then sent another salesman to this same village. So this second salesman who came here, he saw that none of the villagers wore any shoes. Immediately he called the headquarters and said, "You are going to send the shipment of 1 truckload of shoes. I think 1 truckload will not be enough. Please send 4." Manager was surprised. He said, "Are you in the same village that the other salesman came?" The salesman said, "Yes, I'm in the same village." So what he did, he, through his skills of salesmanship, he convinced all the villagers how they should wear shoes, how wearing shoes is good, how wearing shoes uplifts their lifestyle. And because of this, he was able to sell all the shoes. Within 2 or 3 weeks, the entire shipment of 4 truckloads, all the shoes were sold. Same village, same product, but two drastic outcomes. One salesman saw a dead end, whereas the other saw an opportunity. So oftentimes we ask, what can you do for me? What can the world do for me? But the question to ask is, what can I do for the world? right? This is positivity. We should ask ourselves, can I light a candle where others only see darkness? So our spirit is what transforms reality. It turns negative into positive. So this salesman is a very good example. Let's look at another example. This is of one of Thomas Alva Edison. Thomas Alva Edison was a very brilliant, successful scientist who invented many technological items, light bulbs and so on. So once in 1914, when he was of the age of 67, for some reason, unfortunately, his entire plant was burnt by some unknown fire. Entire plant. So in this plant, he had his prototypes, the work he had done over so many years, prototypes, research papers, technologies, so many things that he invented was all in this plant, and it all got burnt in this catastrophic fire. But did the fire destroy Thomas's vision? No, it actually reignited him. When the press conference came, he wrote in the newspaper, and he said, "These are his words, as you can see in the newspaper article that I've shown here. I am pretty well burnt out, boys, but I'll start all over again tomorrow." So you can see the determination. The fire did not destroy his vision; it reignited it. He did not see the this fire as a catastrophe. He saw it as cleansing. He thought, all the mistakes that I had done over the years, it's all gone. Now I can start fresh. So an amazing example, and the loss was tremendous. It was said that about, the loss was estimated up to $7 million, and that too in 1915. It must have been a very big amount back then. By today's calculation, it would be around 250 million or something like that. It's a big number. But this event did not, discourage Thomas. He did not mourn for the loss of things. He embraced it, and he thought, okay, now I have a new space for new ideas. So another excellent example of looking things positively in life. Another example is of the Pandavas. We all know the story how Pandavas were exiled to forest for 13 years, 12 years, and then 1 year incognito. Now, one may wonder, what did Pandavas do in the forest? They did not just sit around lazily, mourning for all the things that happened. No, the Pandavas did not waste any time at all. They utilized the time very wisely. Yudhishthir Maharaj, for example, immersed himself in studies of Vedic literature, sacred hymns. He received wisdom from learned Brahmanas. Why? Because he knew that I am going to become the king, and I must know how to rule the world, rule the citizens as per Dharma. Arjun, on Yudhishthir and Krishna's direction, he went to heavenly planets. He assisted Indra in fighting with Nivata Kavachas. He got celestial weapons from the demigods. He was performing severe austerity, and Lord Shiva himself came and fought with him. And being pleased with Arjuna's fighting spirit and skills, Lord Shiva himself gave him his own weapon, Pashupat Astra. Then Bhima, he met his elder brother Hanuman, requested him to come and support the Pandavas in the war, in the war that is going to take place in the future. So Hanuman agreed to come and sit in the flag of Arjuna's chariot, and he said that when Bhima would roar, Hanuman will also join in, and the combined roar of both of them would shatter the hearts of Kauravas. Nakul and Sahadev. Sahadev cultivated knowledge of nature's language. He learned how to interpret the signs of speech of birds and animals. And Nakula focused on war strategies, planning, and sharpening his mind for future battles. So we see that Pandavas did not waste time. Not only did they utilize their times, they also, during their travels, built strategic alliances with other kings through marriages, and expanded their circle of trusted friends. Um, they were so visionary. They were networking. They laid down the foundation for their future victory. They lived among the common people, villagers, tribal communities. They were not just sitting, like people sitting in their ivory towers and enjoying. They went, they spoke, they ate with these simple villagers, understood what their life is, what problems they go through. They deeply connected with them. They heard them, heard all the common people, and in this way they earned the love and trust of all the people whom they met. So this is another very wonderful example we can see from Pandavas, that even despite the difficulty of being in exile, they were never dejected. They made the best time. They made the best use of the time, utilized that time for growing and becoming more stronger. Now, if we contrast that with Duryodhan, Pandavas were in the forest, but Duryodhan was in Hastinapur, living in a palace. Duryodhan, although he was living in the palace, he was always in anxiety. He was thinking, what if this Pandavas return? Will they reclaim the kingdom? Will I lose everything? He was in constant anxiety, always thinking like that. Although he was seated on a golden throne, his heart was like a battlefield. He turned heaven into hell through his envy and fear, and Pandavas turned exile into empowerment. So, it's two different attitude towards life. Duryodhan had everything, but he could not see it. Pandavas had nothing, but they had everything because of their mindset, because of their positivity, because of their attitude towards life. So it's a great lesson we can learn from Pandava's life, that it is not our location that decides our destiny, it is our mindset. Always remember this. We may be in very difficult circumstances, but that's okay as long as our mindset is positive, as long as we are looking at it from a proper perspective. Pandavas were in the forest, yet they flourished. Duryodhan was in a palace, yet withered. We should not see, like the Pandavas, we should not see exile as punishment, but as preparation. The third way to feel blessed, secure, and peaceful at heart is to transcend dualities of this world. What does this mean? We have to understand the nature of this world, and we have to seek Krishna above all. What does dualities mean? Dualities means two things: dualities. So in this world there are two. There is success, there is failure, there is heat, there is cold, there is praise, there is insult, there is honor, there is dishonor, there is poor, there is rich. Always there is dualities. So when I say transcend means to overcome or go beyond dualities. We have to, in order to become peaceful, in order to become happy, in order to stay positive all the time, we have to transcend dualities. Don't worry about this heat and cold, praise and insult, success, failure, honor, dishonor. Don't worry about it, because they will come and go. They'll come and go. Just as when there is summer, it's hot, and then and it's followed by winter when it's cold. Again, there will be summer, will be hot, and again there will be winter. Sometimes we may get success, sometimes we may get failure. Sometimes people will honor us, sometimes people will dishonor. Don't worry about it. Understand that everything in this world is temporary, and we should simply tolerate these dualities. Don't get too absorbed, don't get too worked up, going through and thinking, oh, why should I be, what did I do wrong? It's no point. We are wasting our time. Other thing to understand is Krishna himself has certified this place as Dukhalayam Asashvatam. That means Dukhalayam means full of miseries, full of suffering. This world is a place of suffering, and asashvatam means temporary. This place is a place of suffering. That means we will always go through some difficulties in life. There will always be some problems. There will always be something or the other going wrong, because this is the design of this world. This is how the world has been created. Other is temporary. Remember that everything here is temporary. So if you're going through happiness, know that it is temporary, it is not going to last for long. If you're going through distress, know that it is also temporary, it is not going to last very long. This is the world of temporary and suffering. Dukhalayam asashvatam. Always remember that this world is a hospital. It is not a hotel. If we think that this world is hospital, then that is the right perspective. But if we think it's a hotel for our enjoyment, then we will be frustrated, will be defeated. So I have a very nice example to show you how to not worry about these dualities. Suppose you are in a room, yeah, which is on fire. There is fire burning everywhere, and there is a hole in the ceiling, and there is a ladder. Now you have a way to get out of this room, and that is through the ladder. So you quickly take the ladder, put it to the hole, and you try to get out. While you are exiting, there are two other men. One man is criticizing you, saying you are this, you are that, insulting you. And the other person, as you can see in the picture, the other person is praising you. What should you do? Should you worry about the person who is criticizing you, or should you worry about the praises that the other person is giving you? No, you should continue to go up the stairs, go up the ladder, and get out of the room, because if you don't, then you will also be roasted with the other two person. So what is the intelligent thing to do? Don't worry about it. Shut your eyes, ears, everything to criticisms and praises. It's a waste of time. Make the best use of the bad bargain. Make the best use of the body that you have, the time you have, the facilities you have, to get out of this material world and transcend dualities of this world. No point fighting with the dualities. No point fighting and whinging and complaining about it. Simply get out. Here's another example. A boy went to a beach with his family, with his parents, and he built a sand castle. When it was evening, the parents said, "My dear son, let us go home. It's evening. Let's time to go home." Now, what did the child do? He became attached to the sandcastle, and he said, "No, mom, I don't want to go home. I want to play." You know, but the parents said, "No, we have to go home, son. We have to go home." So eventually, the child understood that what's more important, the sandcastle or my relationship with my parents? My parents are more important. So then eventually he left the sandcastle and went back with the parents. So our situation is also very similar to this boy who has built this castle. Like this boy, we also have built our castle not of sand but of bricks and mortar and so on, and we have become too attached to it. Krishna, like the loving parent, has been calling us, "My dear son, come back, come back. You have been playing for so many millions of lives. It's enough. Come back to me and be happy." But we are always adamant, and we're life after life we say, "No, I want to play. I want to create another sandcastle." And every lifetimes after lifetimes we've been building our sandcastles, and we continue building our sandcastles. And as I said, the world is temporary, so a wave of comes and destroys our sandcastle, and then again we start all over again, build a new sandcastle for ourselves. So transcend dualities and be fixed on going back home, back to God. The other principle, people in general get too much affected by the results. So it is very important to understand what is true success, what is the art of work. The way Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, text number 47. He says, कर्मणेवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भुर्मा ते संगोस्त कर्मणि. He says you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the fruits of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So here's a very important thing to understand is that we have a right to perform our duty, but we are not entitled to the fruits of our action. That means we should perform our duty, but the fruits are not within our hands. We can only do our duty, we can only do our part, but the fruits are given by Krishna. So sometimes we may do our work and we may get good results, but sometimes we may do everything, we may do our best, but still we may not get the desired result. So this is what we have to understand. We should not get too absorbed in why I didn't get good result. Sometimes there may be success, sometimes there may be a failure. So not everything is in our control. We can go and sow the seeds, but only God has to send the rain. We can give an interview, but the panel has to select us. When things are not. And another very important point to understand is that since results are not within our control, we should not really be worried. We should not be tensed, because the results are beyond our control. They are not within our hand. What is in our hand is to do our best. So that we should do. Another important point to keep in mind is that there are 5 factors of action, and only one of them is us. So only 20% is in our control. The remaining 80% is not within our control. So why should we take tension? We should take care of whatever is within our control, the 20%. So the 5 factors are adhistam tatha karta karanam cha prathak vidham vidvas vividhas cha prathak chesta devam chevatra panchamam. The place of action, the body; the performer, the soul; the various senses; the many different kinds of endeavor; and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action, and we should have clear understanding. Unless these 5 factors come together, we cannot get the result that we desire. Super soul ultimately has to award us the result, good or bad. So when we have correct understanding, now why is this important? When we have correct understanding, we will not be worried or tensed about the results, which many times, most of the people are so much worried, are not able to feel happy, is because they are so tensed about the results. A student goes to an exam, he's worried whether I'll pass or fail. You know, an employee is worried whether I'll get promotion or not. So result oriented mindset will put us in anxiety, will make us tensed, stressed. So we should not worry about results. We should just do our best. Always remember, we don't have to be the best, but we have to always do our best in whatever we do. And this is very nicely, profoundly expressed through the example of Jatayu, as I've shown in this picture. Jatayu was a bird. When Ravana kidnapped Mother Sita and was taking her to Lanka, Jatayu already knew that going and trying to save Sita is my death. He knew it. Ravana was such a powerful person, such a powerful demon. So what did he do? He said, even though I may die, it is my duty to protect Mother Sita. So he tried his best and fought with full power with Ravana. But Ravana cut off his wing. He cut off his one wing, and then it's not that after one of the wings of Jatayu was cut. Jatayu said, okay, now I cannot fight. With the other wing, he flew and again started fighting with Ravana. And Ravana cut off his both wings and ultimately killed him. And in the end, Jatayu fell down on the ground. Even after falling down on the ground, he sustained his life because he wanted to give the message that Ravana had taken Sita towards the southern direction. So Jatayu did his best. He did his best even up to the point of losing his own life without worrying about the result. And now, what result did he get? Lord Ramachandra, when he came to Jatayu, when Jatayu was about to leave his life, he was in pain, he was just chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. Hearing this, Ramachandra went into that direction and he saw this Jatayu lying, chanting his names. Jatayu gave the message that Ravana has taken your wife Sita towards the southern direction, and then he gave up his life. Lord Ramachandra was so pleased with Jatayu. He promised Jatayu that you will attain the highest destination possible. After this, you are going straight to Vaikuntha. So, Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, did the last rites of Jatayu. Now, if you look at it from a materialistic point of view, Jatayu's endeavor to fight with Ravana was a total failure. But if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, Jatayu's service to Lord Ramachandra in attempting to save Mother Sita became his greatest success. He went straight back home, back to Godhead, went to Vaikuntha. So this is from this example we understand the definition of what is success and what is failure. Here's another point to understand, and this is happiness and distress. One of the dualities of this world is that there is happiness and there is distress. One thing we must understand is that whatever happiness or distress that we are enjoying or suffering is due to our past karma, whether good or bad. If you've done good karma, we will enjoy. If you've done bad karma, we will suffer. So, whatever difficulties we are going through or problems that we are going through in this life are the result of our past karma. So, knowing this, we should not really be too much worried about our present situation. We should do whatever we can, but understand that ultimately we ourselves have made this situation for ourselves. Nobody else is responsible for it. We are the maker of our own destiny, as they say. So we, by our actions, our deeds in the past, have created this situation for ourselves. So if you are in a happy situation, know that it is because of some good work that you have done in the past. And if you are in a distressful, suffering situation, again understand that it is our own doing. It is on our own. We are ourselves responsible for it. No point blaming the instruments of our karma. If other person is being nasty with us, he's insulting us, he's being disrespectful to us, the reason why we are going through that is because we may have insulted or we may have been very nasty with somebody in our past life or in this present life. We are just reaping the fruits of our own actions. So when we understand this, then we don't get too carried away when there is happiness, neither do we get too bogged down or distressed when there is difficulties or sufferings in our life. The fourth point is practice heartfelt gratitude. Always remember a grateful heart is a happy heart, and this is an extremely important point. Again, when we are grateful, when we are truly, genuinely grateful, then there is no question of being distressed or being demotivated or depressed or morose. There is no question of complaining or whinging about something if we are grateful. And there are so many things that we can be grateful for. So many things. We have to count our blessings. For example, if we have if our hands, legs, eyes, nose, ears, all our organs are working properly, then we should be very grateful to the Lord. There are so many people who are born blind. They have not seen a sunlight, they have not seen the beautiful nature. We are able to walk properly. There are people who don't have legs, or their legs have been cut off. There are people who don't have hands. We are getting 3 meals a day. There are people who don't even get one meal in 3 days. you know we are living in such beautiful houses in Australia. There are people around the world who live in slums. Some, they don't even have any house. So there are so many things to be grateful about. you know in fact, if you are really truly grateful, heartfelt gratitude is there, we will not find any reason to complain. And this is a very, very important practice. We should write gratitude journal every day. We should write gratitude journal and write down all the things that we are grateful about. Every day when we wake up, the first 20 minutes we should meditate on this fact, the fact that we have woken up. That itself we should be very grateful for, because there are many people in the world who have slept last night and did not wake up today. So the fact that we are just alive, we should be grateful to Krishna. We should every day start our day like this, thanking God, chanting His holy name, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, taking a bath and going and praying and offering, doing some service for the Lord as a matter of gratitude, expressing our heart, expressing how grateful we are to the Supreme Lord for all these benefits. We have had nice upbringing, we have nice loving parents. There are people who have not seen their parents, they have been put into orphanage. um, so many things that we can be grateful about. And if you're very truly grateful, not just saying lip service thank you and I really appreciate that and all that, being truly heartfelt gratitude, when there is there, we will find no reason to complain. We will always see good in others. And this is a very, very important practice. If you really want to feel peaceful at heart, always be grateful. Be grateful not just for the things that Krishna has given us, but also for things that Krishna has not given us. Sometimes certain things Krishna will not give us, even though we may desire it very strongly, but that is also His own mercy, and we should be very grateful for that. Once there was a very rich man. He promised his son that before I die, I'm going to give you all my wealth. All my wealth, I'm going to write it down in your name. So, knowing this, the son was very happy and getting into bad association, because he was only a teenager. So, he got into bad association. His friends, because of the bad association, he started smoking and drinking and all that from the pocket money that he was getting from his father. So, his father stopped giving him pocket money, and the son became very disturbed. He became very angry at his father and said, "You are a cheater number one." The father asked, "Why?" The son said, "You have promised me to give everything, but you are not even giving me pocket money. You are a cheater, you are a liar." The father then explained, "My dear son, the reason why I'm not giving you money is because you are going and drinking, smoking. If you have these bad habits, if you continue smoking like this, then you will die before me. And if you die before me, then how will I give you all my property? So to prevent you from dying earlier than me, I'm not giving you, because it's not good for you. You still don't know how to use the money. So not giving you is for your own good." So similarly, sometimes Krishna also doesn't give us what we desire, and that is for our own good, because he knows that we are not in a position to utilize the facilities that he will be giving us properly. So you have to be grateful. Always be grateful. Always remember, a grateful heart is a happy heart. Whenever you feel like complaining, frustrated, depressed, take your mind consciously and think of all the blessings. Count all your blessings. count all the things, all the facilities that you have, and immediately you will see how you come out of that negative space that you are in. Here's another example of gratitude. What to speak of anybody? Even the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna himself is very grateful. Once Draupadi was being disrobed, this famous pastime. And Draupadi was being disrobed in the assembly of Kurus, and she was looking at the elderly Kurus, Bhishma Dev and Dhritarashtra, but nobody was coming to help her. So, realizing that nobody, and Dushasana was trying to strip her naked, but realizing that alone she will not be able to stop Dushasan. Finally, she raises her two hands and shouts and calls out very feelingly, saying, Govinda, Gopinath, please help me, please protect me. And Krishna, hearing this cries, sends unlimited sari to protect Draupadi. Now, before this, another incident had happened, and that is once Krishna was cutting fruit and he accidentally cut his finger and he started bleeding. Seeing this, Draupadi quickly came running and tore the end of her sari and wrapped it around Krishna's finger. Seeing this, Krishna was very pleased with Draupadi and said, Oh, you have done such a nice thing. I will have to reciprocate for your kindness. So he said, I promise you that I will reciprocate with you for every thread that is there in this piece of cloth that you have wrapped around my finger. And later in the future, when this event took place of disrobing of Draupadi, Krishna reciprocated and fulfilled his promise and supplied unlimited saris to Draupadi. So we can learn a very important lesson here, that there is no offering too small to Krishna when given with love. Krishna always remembers our service. Even a small service done to Krishna, he remembers eternally, and he is very grateful, and he also reciprocates very appropriately. So every day, as a matter of just thanking Krishna, we should chant his name, should chant Hare Krishna mantra. Every single day we should pray to him, offer him, do some service for the Lord. He will always remember. Last but not the least is associate with devotees. This is the foundation of all the other principles that we have discussed. Without this, we will not be able to even understand what to speak of consciously applying them in our life. We have to associate with devotees. In the association of devotees, our consciousness gets uplifted, we feel inspired. So, associate with devotees, at the same time, avoid unholy association. This is a given, right? So, you should associate with devotees, but at the same time, don't associate with not devotees or those who degrade your consciousness. So the association of, and a very classic example of that is Narad Muni. Narad Muni, before he became a Narad Muni, he was a son of a maid servant. During the 4 months of rainy season, some Bhakti Vedantas came and stayed in the ashram of his mother. This small boy served the Bhakti Vedantas very menially. He did all the service for them, washed their plates, and also took the remnants of the prasad that they had taken. And he would sit down and hear the Krishna Katha when these Bhakti Vedantas would discuss with them. And in this way, in 4 months, this boy became so spiritually enriched and enlightened. One day, what happened is that his mother was bitten by a snake and she died. And this boy was only 5 year old at that time. Even though he lost his mother, his only shelter, he did not have anybody else in his family. His mother was his everything, and he lost his mother. Now, this 5-year-old boy, instead of crying and mourning and being dejected, he immediately thanked Krishna and said, "Oh, my dear Lord, my only shelter was my mother, and that also you have taken it away. Now I have no one except you." And in this way, he took full shelter, fully surrendered himself to the Supreme Lord. Singing his glories, he moved around from place to place, and ultimately he even he even saw the Supreme Lord in his heart, and then he left his body, and the next birth he took was of Narad Muni. So you can see this is a very nice example to demonstrate that association with devotees is so powerful. We must associate with devotees, you know, hear Krishna Katha from them, and it is very powerful. साधु संग सर्व शास्त्र कहे, लव मात्र साधु संग सर्व सिद्धि होय. By associating with sadhus, sarva siddhi, we can get all perfection. Stay spiritually nourished. We should, once we come in sadhu sangha, we should always remember this ABCD formula. A stands for association, association with devotees. B, read books, Srila Prabhupada's books. C, chanting. And D, diet, eating only prasadam. If we do this ABCD, we will always stay spiritually nourished, and we will not be affected by the negativity or the difficulties or sufferings or unfavorable situations that we may be going through in our life. When we are fixed on when our consciousness is fixed on Krishna, we stay aloof, we don't get affected by so much. So stay spiritually nourished through all these methods. So those are the 5 ways that I wanted to present. We'll just quickly summarize. So I discussed the 5 points. One was trust God and his plans. Trust that God does whatever he does is good for our good, and his plans are always perfect. Have a positive outlook, and by having a positive outlook, we will be able to turn adversities into opportunities. And we saw the example of the salesman going to the village, um, Thomas Alva Edison. Then transcend dualities and be fixed on the eternal. We discussed a couple of points here, very important points. Practice heartfelt gratitude. We discussed the example of Draupadi, and we also discussed how we should be grateful for everything that Krishna has given. We should keep a gratitude journal every day. We should write down. And the last we discussed was associating with devotees and staying spiritually nourished. So those are the 5 points. I hope you find them useful. I hope you will be able to uh, apply all or some of them in your life, and see for yourself how effective they are in helping you overcome negativity and always feel blessed, secure, peaceful, and happy at heart. So thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.